All right, good morning, Kelowna Kia and Okanagan Dodge. How's everybody doing today? Let's go. We thought we'd feed you guys really healthy today, so Connor got you some nice McDonald's. Anyway, guys, wanted to come and have a little bit of a huddle with you. We're in May here. We got some pretty big expectations for May, and I just kind of wanted to talk to you, more of a pump-up session today. I got a SPIF program for the next week. Wanted to launch that for you guys, kind of give you a little extra motivation here to get a good week going here. So I'm going to talk about 5 things, kind of like a high performer sort of meeting, where things that high performers really focus on to get to the next level. So first is going to be attitude. Second is being a believer versus being a participant. Number 3 is focus. And I got my notes here at this time, so I won't forget. Confidence. What do I mean by confidence? 5, effort. And then 6 is going to be what we're going to call it the fast finish, which is going to be the bonus program for you guys as individuals. And then I got some team targets that we'll talk about if we hit as a team what we're gonna celebrate. So I'll get right into the first one, which is attitude. And the guys, I guess what I want to talk about. There's really only 2 things in life that you can really control. Okay, you can control your attitude and you can control the effort. So you can't control, like Billy, you can't control the weather, right? You don't know if it's going to be a real sunny day or whether it's going to be cloudy today, right? You can't control how Connor's going to be or your desking manager is going to be. You can't control whether your deal is going to get financed in the finance office. You can't control, what your buddies are doing at work. You can't control if your customer misses his appointment. You can try and control it, but sometimes it's going to happen. So the attitude that I'm talking about is focusing on what you can control, which is making sure we have a really great mindset. And high performers, when we're talking about mindset and attitude, it's like Monday on top of Tuesday, Tuesday on top of Wednesday, Wednesday on top of Thursday, Thursday on top of Friday, Friday on top of Saturday, Sunday's your day of rest, and then back again Monday. Do we have an attitude on all those things, right? And really wanted to really stretch on that because it's really easy to get focused on things that kind of bring us down a level sometimes. Maybe the car got sold underneath you, or we don't have the right car for the customer, or you start thinking about the wrong things. It can really take us off our game. So I'm not going to spend like an hour today. I'm going to spend about 30 minutes just kind of going through some high performer things, right? So letting go of the things you can't control, and then being a believer. So Dion, do you know what I mean when I'm saying being a believer versus a participant? Right. So kind of being a believer, guys, is believing in the process, believing in yourself and the targets, believing in, what you're going to be doing, believing in, obviously, the ownership, believing in all that type of stuff. Now, this statement is really important if you're going to be a believer. And a lot of people sometimes can get it wrong. Being a believer means you're focusing on what you can't see. Too many people focus on what they can see. I'll give you an example. You focus on your paycheck right now. Yeah, maybe it wasn't as good as what you wanted. You focus on the last 3 days, didn't sell a car. You focus on, some things that might have happened during the day that really weren't, as good as what you had hoped. But what I can tell you as a high performer, you start focusing on your best version. Where am I going to be? How many, seeing yourself, like, what does it look like when I sell 20 cars in a month? What does it look like 6 months from now? What's my best version? Well, I'm going to say it again. Focus on what you can't see. So are you focusing on, if you want to be a sales manager, are you starting to visualize yourself as that? If you want to get into finance, are you visualizing that? What about your paycheck? Maybe, I want to sell 20 cars, that paycheck. And what I start doing is I start seeing what I can see. I start saying, okay, this is our goal for the whole year. This is our goal for the month. It's really easy to focus on what you can see, which is in front of you, and really letting your head go in the wrong spots, right? So I'll give you an example. If you, let's just say you did a year over year and you're down $2,000 or $3,000 or you're down $5,000 for the year, it'd be really focused for that to take a whole bunch of headspace. Instead of seeing what you can't see and saying, you know what, this is the busy months, I can make up that, and right? And then sometimes you got to look back and you got to look, okay, well, I'm focusing on what I can see right now, but let's just take a quick back. Where was I 3 years ago? And then what progress have I made? Where was I 2 years ago? Maybe you just started in the business 6 months ago. Do you remember your first day and where you're at right now? Well, use that same logic, and then where are you going to be 6 months from now? Where are you going to be a year from now? Where are you going to be 2 years from now? Maybe you want to buy a house. How does that visualize? So you look at what you're making right now, and then you start seeing what's next, right? So that's what I mean about being a believer, right? You got to really believe it. And guys, I don't want to like date myself here and like be egotistical when I say that, but I was right there where you guys are sitting. I'm a first generation high performer car guy. I sold cars, started in the car business, selling cars. Okay? I was a Greenpeace salesman. Okay? My dad didn't give me the dealership. I didn't have a family member. I didn't have any of that. I started selling cars on the sales floor, right where you guys are. So when I talk about high performers, I am one. I'm probably the only high performer you're going to meet on this personal level in the car business. Because I can honestly say I'm a high performer in the car business. If you track my history and what I've done and where I'm headed and all that type of stuff. So I'm not saying that to like talk down to you. I'm saying that to challenge you because I was right where you guys are. Some of you guys are young guys. I started selling cars when I was 18, right? Young guy, trying to make it, listening to my manager, taking notes just like you guys are, and then trying to learn from that and getting better, right? And that's why I'm sharing a little bit, because I see some of you guys that want to make it in the business, and you have to start thinking and seeing yourself and believing that you can do it. Because if I can certainly do it without a grade 12 education and have 13 dealerships and 26 companies, and we're going to close on another one in June and another one in September, you can start thinking really big, right? So I want to really challenge you guys that even if you're having a little of a bad start, maybe for the year or even this month or whatever, start believing that we're going to be hitting our target. Start thinking about big things, and it's going to happen, right? So I'm already at number 2, believing versus participant. Visualizing your best version, right? So there's 1 year, 2 years, we talked about that. Okay, number 3, focus. So this is a big one because being busy doesn't always mean progress, right? I can see sometimes a lot of guys are keeping really busy, and they're doing all these things, but high performers focus on the things that are going to get them the right results. They don't always, it's not like I'm just busy, I'm running around, I'm doing all these things, but they lost track of the key ingredients of being successful and being a high performer. So it's really focused, that's why we talked about attitude and then believing. Well, focus is a really big thing, right? And I'll kind of give you does anyone go hiking at all in Kelowna? Okay. Where do you go hiking usually? Yeah. Allison, you go hiking, right? Knox Mountain. Okay. Well, you got to have sort of the initiative at the start to get to the top of Knox Mountain, right? You just don't get to the top automatically. So the analogy would be like you start at the bottom and you hike up. It requires a lot of thought on how you're going to do it, when you're going to do it, how to prepare, what shoes you're going to wear, and then probably sometime, you might be looking at your watch, how long is it taking? And then when you get to the top, it's the sense of achievement that I've done something. Well, that's how focus works. You focused on, hiking up to mountain. You can use that analogy in everyday work practices too, right? So are we focused on the right things, right? And it's really, sometimes it can really take you away if you're not focused on the right things, right? So, and I say that again, and I really hope this sticks with you. All these things, it's about consistency. So again, Monday on top of Tuesday, Tuesday on top of Wednesday, Wednesday on top of Thursday, Thursday on top of Friday, Friday on top of Saturday, take a day off on Sunday, and then you start over again. And are we focused on the right things every day? So are you focused on the things, you have KPIs, The managers have their KPIs. You guys have your KPIs. You know, are we focused on the right things, right? So that's a real big one, right? So, you know, being prepared, process, product knowledge, all that type of stuff is really important. Confidence is the next one, number 4 already. You know, talking the most doesn't mean you're confident. So I want to repeat that. Confidence is not always about talking the most. Confidence is building on all the stuff that you need to be successful. So that would be product knowledge. You're going to get confidence from knowing your product. You're going to get confidence from knowing the process and how to do it really well. You're going to get confident from knowing your programs. And you're going to get confidence from obviously having some results and doing those things, right? So it's really important that you know, that's why we went through attitude, went through focus, went from believing. Now you got to be confident. Now I just want to go around the room here. Tell me about your best. How many cars have you? How long have you been in the business now?
1 month.
1 month. And how many? What did you sell last month?
No, my target was 8. I sold 9.
Nice, good. That's awesome. What was your best day?
Last day of the month.
And how many did you sell?
I did a hat trick.
Oh wow,
So,
good. That made you feel good.
yeah.
What was your best day in the car business?
I just sold 2 cars.
Okay. Okay, good. Yourself?
2 months. Best day was hitting my 15 car target.
Oh wow, great job. Best car day in the car business, Jared. Do you remember it?
Yeah, 7 deliveries in 1 day.
Oh wow,
Scion FRS when it came out in 2013. They're all pre-orders.
nice. Yourself? Best day?
Best day was 3.
3. Hat trick. Nice.
4 for myself.
4. That's a great day. Billy?
3.
I always see you got the hat trick move with the. You want to show everybody your hat trick sort of picture? How do you do? You always do the same one.
It's the eagle.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. We see that one. Yourself? Yeah. 4. You're an old boy in the business, right? You probably have had a few of those.
3 years.
3 years. Okay. 3. Okay. Yourself? Good. Connor, what's your best day in the business?
The best day I can remember is selling 22 as a team.
Yeah.
As a manager.
Yeah. It wasn't when we went to Tim Hortons and had a meeting about you dating my daughter. Anyway, had to make the guys laugh. Okay. Yourself?
My first hat trick and then selling the 4th the next day.
That was best day. Nice. Courtney?
Best day was probably, I think, 6 or 7 deliveries.
Wow.
Just a really high adrenaline day. It was awesome.
Good. Felt good. Jovan?
My best day was delivering
8. Nice. Cool. That's a big day.
I would say last month was best for me. But
Pardon me?
last month was
Last
best.
month, but I'm asking what one best day?
I have every day it's best day.
Like, did you sell 3 in a day or?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so it's probably
This
one.
one,
Yeah. Okay. Allison?
My best day was putting 40K with someone one day.
Oh wow, that's a huge day. Huge day. Mike?
My best day was I walked in the tower to put my 18th sticker up one day, and Connor turned around and said, "I don't know how you did it, but you haven't had one pending deal all month."
Oh wow,
And that was a big one. I felt like that was a big one.
that was great. That was back at Kelowna Hyundai.
That was back Kelowna Hyundai 2020.
Nice.
Yeah.
Irina?
I was at Hyundai as well. I did 5 deliveries and I went close to 30,000.
Oh nice. Good.
So good.
Good. Back here, Dion? Best day in the business?
Probably presenting my team with some diamond awards that we won as a dealership.
Yeah.
A couple years ago.
Good feeling? Yeah.
Proud of it.
Yeah. Mike?
Salesperson 6 deals and as a team 40.
Wow. Wow, that's a huge day. Yourself?
We did 5.
5? Cool. Okay, the reason why I took you through that is because I want you to remember that day. Chances are you were really focused. That last customer you met, you were very confident. Okay, you had a great attitude. I want you to think about it. That day when you went into that last customer you met, it was almost like, no matter what the customer was going to say, you had the confidence where you kind of knew that you were going to sell them. Like when I think about my best days, it wouldn't have mattered what happened. Wouldn't have mattered which customer I talked to. It was just like, I'm making this happen, right? And you think about, your worst day and you compare it to your best day. it's a lot to do with attitude. It's a lot to do with confidence. And so I want to take you back to those best days and think about, like, what if we put multiple best days together? And sometimes it's all up here, guys. Sometimes it's all about the mindset, right? So you had the confidence. So confidence, you build on confidence. Again, Monday after Tuesday, Tuesday on top of Wednesday, Wednesday on top of Thursday, Thursday on top of Friday, Saturday, take a day of rest. But you start building all these things in a week, it makes a big difference. You can't take a day off mentally or it could fall apart. So again, mindset, attitude, being a believer, having the right focus. Remember, it's not about how busy you are. Are you focused on the right things? And then having the confidence. Confidence that when a customer walks in the store today, we're going to put it, we're going to sell them. We know our product. We're going to feel really good about what we're showing. We're going to know our programs, and we're going to walk up to them and, you know what, I'm going to sell you a car today, Mike, and believe in it, right? You got to believe you're going to do it, right? So, and I really challenge you guys to have that mindset today. Okay. Next one is effort. Okay. It's not the coach's job to train you on effort or energy. It's not my job to coach anyone on effort and energy. That is a given. You need to show up to work with the right effort and right energy. It is not the coach's job to train you on effort and energy. Now, what I will tell you when I say that is effort beats talent 9 times out of 10 in the court when it's done consistently. So when it's done once in a while, okay. But if you put together a month, and I can tell you with high performers, and I can tell you like myself, I was not the best salesman. I was not the most talented salesman. But generally what happened is I outworked the next closest person. So what does outwork mean? Outwork means focused on the things that I knew were going to get me results, right? Again, effort will outscore talent all the time. So are you putting enough effort in the things, the KPIs that we need you to put in, right? So that was the big one, right? And getting out of your comfort zone, right? I think a lot of times we're focused on the things we're really good at. We put the effort into the things we're really good at, but we don't put the effort into the things that we feel that make us uncomfortable. Well, that's not how high performers work. That's not how high performance and results works. You gotta put the effort into the things that make you uncomfortable. You gotta put an effort into the things that you're not good at, right? And that is gonna get you the extra results, right? So, you know what I mean? So, I would challenge you to get out of your comfort zone. The difference between, and I just wrote this, the difference between a good or an average performer and a high performer is the high performers don't quit when the good and average persons kind of are done for the day. Like, you talk about 4 o'clock till 6 at the end of the day. You talk about being here early, maybe 15 or 20 minutes before your shift. The high performers want to prepare for their day. The high performers want to do just a little bit more than the other person just to make sure that they're going to execute. So like, what's the minimum standard in all our KPIs? How many posts do you have to do? How many Facebook this? How many calls do you need to make? Whatever. Well, the high performers do more than what the expectation of the minimum standard is, because they have a higher standard. So I guess I would challenge you. Everyone wants to be a high performer, but not everyone has the right mindset as a high performer. So I'd really challenge you to think like a high performer. That means you need to start raising your standards. So if the manager says, hey, I need 3 posts, or 3 Facebook posts a day, or we need to make this, you should all be like, okay, well, then I'm going to do this. Because the minimum standard is this, but a high performer standard's all, higher, right? And I can tell you from experience, if you do the minimum standard, you're going to get average results. If you do high performance standards, you're going to get high performance results. So, right? So that's just you know, you know, being obsessed. High performers are obsessed with getting the results, right? And I'll tell you a little story, and I just, you don't have to have this, but generally high performers are a little bit obsessed with getting the results. So like when I was selling cars, and I told the story, selling cars, even with my, you know, we would go on a vacation or whatever, and I was in Weyburn, Saskatchewan. I remember Barber Motors. I was selling cars. We'd go. Trina's family lived in Edmonton, so we would take off back to Edmonton. It would be a weekend, so we'd leave on a Friday, and we'd go back, and then, you know, it was a 10-hour drive back to Edmonton from Weyburn. We'd get back, and I remember driving back into Weyburn. You know, it'd be like a Sunday at 8 or 9 o'clock or whatever. We would have left at 6 in the morning. And she goes, "Where are you going?" Because I kind of detoured. I said, "Well, I got to go to the dealership." And she'd be like, "John, it's 8 o'clock. I'm tired. Why are we going to the dealership?" I'd be like, "I got to find out how many deals I missed. I got to find out, you know, how they did. I got to find out, you know, did anyone steal any of my customers?" I had those things too, guys. I had, you know, people stole my customers sometimes. Okay, so but I was obsessed with being the best salesperson. I was obsessed with what it would took to, when I was a salesperson, I wanted to be the best salesperson at that store. And then I wanted to be the best sales manager. And when I became the best sales manager, I wanted to be the GSM. And then when I became the GSM, I wanted to be the general manager. So I became a general manager when I was 27, right, at Waterloo Ford, the first Green Pea general manager. I was probably too young and immature to be a general manager. Okay, and then when I was a general manager, I wanted to become a partner. And then, you know, it took me, so by the time I became in management at 20, say 25 or 26, I started to be a sales manager, was a GSM at 27, became a partner at 30. I didn't buy my first dealership until 2012, guys, right? But I was obsessed with it. I wanted it really bad. So the story about me driving, you know, into the dealership, you know, I was anxious to get back. I wanted, how many you know, where am I sitting at for the month, that weekend? It's okay to, you know, while I was present while I was off, you know, but as soon as I got right back into town, I was like, okay, what do I got to do to, you know, how many deals did I get? Am I behind? What do I got to do, right? So high performers are obsessed with doing what it takes to hit their targets. So everybody wants to be a high performer, but you got to start thinking like a high performer in everything you do, right? So I'm going to repeat that one more time. It is not the coach's job to train you on effort or energy. You need to show up with the right energy. You need to show up with the right effort, okay? So I'm going to close with the recap. I'm going to challenge some of you guys. Who wants to tell me what the key buttons were about attitude? Jovan? That was number one that I said, a high performer.
Just coming in with the right attitude to get it done.
Yeah.
Just be positive and move forward with what you need to do.
Yeah, focusing on what you can control. There are only two things that you can control. You can control your attitude and your mindset, and you can control your effort. You can't control anything else that's going to happen throughout the day. You focus really well on those two things, good things are going to happen, okay? And the opposite of that would be is not focusing on things that can deter you from the proper mindset, right? It's really easy, and everybody in the room, including myself, has done it, where their head's not been in the right headspace, right? It's very easy to get into that, myself included. But I can tell you, as a high performance, you gotta move it quick, right? So, okay.
Fail fast.
Fail fast, right?
6 years.
Number two, let's ask one of the new guys here. I talked to you about being a believer versus being a participant. What did I mean by that?
If you believe that you can achieve it, you can. Like,
Yeah.
see what you can do.
Yeah.
And actually believe it, you'll get it done.
Okay. Mike, do you remember what and the believer versus the participant, Mike Ritalik, what I said about seen? Do you remember the statement I said?
Well,
Seeing.
I had told you that you got to see. No? Okay. Anybody else remember? Go ahead.
See the things you can't see.
Right. I told you to focus on seeing what you can't see instead of seeing what's in front of you. You got to see what you can't see, right? You got to see the 20 car month. You got to see 6 months from now that you're going to make an extra 100K. You got to see yourself as the sales manager. You got to see yourself, buying that house. You focus on, oh, the 15th of the month, geez, my paycheck's a little less than I wanted. See what you can't see. Believe in yourself. Believe in the dealership. Believe in your managers. Believe in the process of life, not just the sales process. Believe in it, right? Okay, confidence. Where's another salesperson here? What did I talk about confidence?
To become confident about like everything. Like
Right.
When you meet and greet the people, when you talk to the people, to be confident with your product, what you're selling.
Yeah.
About like everything.
Yeah.
To be strong.
Right. Confidence isn't about talking more, right? Sometimes talking more, that's not confidence. Confidence is when you do talk, you're talking about the right things. So confidence comes from great product knowledge, from knowing your programs, knowing your inventory, right? And then confidence, we talked about that best day you've had. So getting proper mindset and saying like, believing that, Jovan, your next delivery, this is going to go down really smooth. You can't focus if it's a cash deal. You can't control if it's a cash deal. You can't control if it's a finance. But you can believe no matter what that, what you're going to achieve and what you're going to do on that deal, right? Okay. Effort. Where's someone I haven't talked to yet? How about yourself? What did I mention about effort?
Myself?
Oh, right here.
Cool.
Cohen. Sorry.
Sorry, what was it?
I talked about effort.
Being focused and putting the most into it.
Right. Okay. I said it's not the manager's job to train you on effort and energy, right? You gotta bring that, man. And we talked about being a high performer, right? High performer means at 4 o'clock you're obsessed. You're obsessed with the results. Give you the obsession. I was obsessed with always hitting the next level, right? Well, effort, guys, if you believe that you can hit the targets and you put in the proper effort, you're going to hit them, man. You really are. And I believe in this team, everyone here. Like, we got, you got, 700 used cars. I want to break it down. You got 700 used cars within an hour away. There's no other person there's no other car dealer group or car dealership in town. And some of these groups don't even share inventory, right? So when you think about it, like if you have someone on a used car, you should be able to walk up to that customer and believe that you have a 100% closing ratio. And I said this sometimes. I remember when I asked Mike when he was a rookie, I said, how many customers do you need to sell a car today? And he answered it kind of, got it out real quick. And he said, I need 3. And I said, no, you don't. You only need 1. You remember that? Remember at that meeting? You only need 1 customer to sell 1 car. You need 3 customers to sell 3. But if you believe it, so like I want you guys to believe that. Someone comes in on a used car, whether you're in subprime, pod, whatever. You get a customer that wants to buy a car, how do you not believe that 100% of the time you're going to sell them? Like we have 600 cars to choose from within an hour away that you can buy at cost, right? So that's where the mindset comes in. I believe I'm going to sell you a car today. And if we don't have it in stock, guess what? We can bring it in. So let's sit down, make sure that I do my proper needs assessment with you, wants and needs, whatever. But Mr. Customer, I just want you to know, I'm going into this that I will sell you a car. Now, when I talk about effort, I just want to remind everybody one thing, and I want you to really think about this. Sales are not lost on the sales floor. Sales are lost on follow-up. I want to repeat that. Sales are not lost on the sales floor today. Sales are lost on the lack of follow-up, which means high performers will out-follow up average performers in sales. What does that mean? That means that Most of you will call your customers back that don't buy a car today on Monday and Tuesday. Most of you will probably call them back again a week from now. Some of you will call them back 2 weeks from now. And some of you will call them back 30 days from now. But very few of you will call them back 45 days from now. I want to repeat it. Sales are not lost on the sales floor. The high performers understand sales are lost from not enough follow-up. So everyone has busy lives. So you don't know what's going on in their lives. They came in today to look at the car, but then they got sidetracked. Something happened in their life. They're busy. They went on a trip. You know, they got some kids, graduating, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then they kind of deferred it. They kind of digressed that purchase. It's still important to them. I'm looking at a real estate thing in Victoria because I want to buy a place in Victoria, and she's been really good. And I went to the deal, and we were right at the offer. Then something happened. It sidetracked us, and we ended up closing on the deal. But she's still following me up. Like, it's been 45, 50, 60 days till I wrote an offer on the thing, right? And I'm going to get back to it, but I've just been sidetracked. I've been busy. Well, if she didn't follow me up, I probably wouldn't have been loyal to her. But now that I've got some time and, you know, I'm not traveling, I'm going to be like, okay, let's relook at this now, right? So I want to, you know, think about that, guys, when you get a really good lead. Just because they don't buy within the next week doesn't mean they're not a good lead. Again, high performers understand that sales are not lost, that sales are not lost on the sales floor. And just, you know, you're going to have a closing ratio of 30% on the sales floor on an appointment today, maybe 50% on this. But you get a good lead, you got to really be organized on how many follow-ups you're going to do. And if your system is only for 2 or 3 weeks or to a month, that's not a high performer salesperson. You got to be looking at things 2 or 3 months. People, not every single person buys within 2 weeks. Some of them buy 3 months from now. So it's really important on the effort and all that we realize that, okay? I talked about the standard is higher than the minimum expectation on effort. So you know the KPIs, you know the social media posts, you know all the things we ask you to do. I won't go through it. You know what your managers are asking you. Are you doing the minimum standard? Or are you doing a high performer standard? If you want high performer results, you got to start thinking about things different, right? So, okay. Those are the 5 things that I had for you. Now let's get into a little bit of a contest here, guys. So I'm going to call it the fast finish. So May 16th to the 22nd. I forgot about that Monday was a holiday, so we're going to change this to the 23rd. May 16th to the 23rd, end of day. 3 deals, they got to be real deals, $300 spiff. 5 deals gets you a $500 spiff, okay? So we're throwing some big money at you. I want you guys thinking like high performers. I have no problem if I give away $5,000 to $10,000 next week. But we got to execute. We got to get the month going here, okay? We're not off by like lots, we're off by just a little bit. So I'm hoping that this will do it. So again, you sell 3 cars, 3 real deals between now and next Saturday. Some of you sell hat trick today, you've already made 300, Billy, okay? You can do that little thing again. Show everybody again.
Let's go, Billy.
Come on.
Okay, well, you sell 5 cars in a week. That's 500, okay? Now, the pod people, you guys qualify for the salesman bonus individually, okay? Mike? Okay? So individually, they have to do this as an individual, okay? You can't like pool all your people, okay? In case you thought that. I've been around. Okay, real deals. FSMs. We need your help. I'm going to do a $200 manufacturer spiff. JR, you're the best manufacturer FSM I have in the business, in my company. What do I mean by manufacturing a deal?
Thank you, sir, first of all. Manufacture just not only from the floor, like your own circle of influence, your friends, you're bringing somebody into the dealership that doesn't come there.
Or you're going through the database yourself, high interest rates, bringing them in.
That as well,
Okay, but it's not like a salesman's asking you to help. So the FSMs, if you're an FSM, not the subprime, because you're on the subprime, you're on the sales program, but an FSM who manufactures an incremental deal, I'm giving you guys a $200 spiff, okay? So the GMs needs to sign off on it. You're gonna be like, hey, I brought this deal in. There's no salesman attached to it yet. Then you get a $200 spiff. Understand? Okay? We need per FSM at least 2 of those in the next week for us to hit the targets. Okay? Can I challenge all of you guys to think outside the box here and bring us 2 deals each? Allison, Jer. Okay? Okay. And then the team goal. So I want us to sell both stores. I want us to sell 25 deals. I'm not asking for the world. I want 25 real deals between now and next Saturday. Okay? I want 25 real deals at Kia, and I want 25 real deals at Okanagan Dodge. And what we'll do is we'll do a group on May 30th. We'll do a group barbecue on the rooftop, the corporate office rooftop. I'll do some steaks. We'll do a big gourmet. I'll bring out the good wine, okay? And we'll celebrate. But we got to, maybe even a cigar if some of you want like that. Scotch, whatever. But the point is we will celebrate. We will have a good celebration. I will be your host, barbecuing on the rooftop patio at corporate office. But we need 25 real deals from each dealership. Okay? You guys ready?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go do it. Connor, you want to put that song back on? Okay. All right, and today, just real quickly today, top performer for the day, I have a $200 Visa. Okay, Dion, that goes for both stores. Dion and Connor, you guys work it out. So someone in the room, if it's a tie, then you draw a name, okay? Okay, and then I have 2 gift cards for each store for the first 2 deals of the day, okay? All right, let's go. Let's have a big day, guys.